This is my audience for this video. All right. There is a warm, cozy feeling associated with curling up with a good book. So, wouldn't it be fun if you had a way to keep your page and that gave you a warm, cozy feeling? Well, that's what these little bookmarks are all about. I've made these cute little yarn bookmarks hundreds of times, and it could not be easier. You only need two very accessible materials and just a few minutes of your time to make these practical yet fun little gifts. Alright, so the best part about these bookmarks is how completely inexpensive the supplies are. You can get yarn anywhere for about $1, and you probably already have a pair of scissors around your house. And if not, they're also really cheap. So with this, you can use absolutely any color yarn that you want. I'm going to be using this black yarn, but you could use any color that your heart desires, or you can mix and match colors. You could use one color for this little top here and one for the bottom, and do any kind of variety that you'd like. And you don't need any glue or knitting needles. All you need is your hands to put it all together at the end. The steps are easy and absolutely anyone can do it. It's a good craft for adults, but also children of all ages as well. And even if they're a little bit too young for scissors, you could pre-cut everything for them to help them out. First, you need to cut a piece of yarn about 16 inches long. This will be the part that goes into the book, and it'll also tie around the very top part. So that's why it's a little bit longer than your average book. So you'll take that piece and cut that, and you'll set it aside for now. All right, second, you need to take 2 to 3 fingers to wrap some yarn around. It depends on how large your fingers are or how big you want your little ball to be. I'm going to use 3 fingers because I have small hands. And you can wrap it around about 50 to 100 times, depending on how full you want this little ball to be. Usually about 50 times works for me. And after a while it does get tiring rolling this around your fingers. And you want to make sure that you don't do it too tight, because if you do it too tight you won't be able to slip it off your hand, which is a very important step to the process. So, continue rolling until you get it to the size you want, and you see it gets larger and larger as you keep going around. And once you're done, you will cut it off at the end, and you will slide it off your fingers, and make sure you set it to the side very, very carefully so that it stays in this shape. And there is a little hole in the middle. I'm going to set that down very, very carefully. Next, you take a very small piece of yarn because you're going to tie it around the loop that you just made. Alright, here's the very small piece. And you must take this and you're going to tie it around to where when it's tied, there's a loop on each side. So you want to tie it as tight as you can. And you may have to double knot it, depending. For this one, I think I'm going to double knot it because it's not as tight as I would like it to be. And this will kind of serve as the middle that holds the little puff ball together. And there you go. So now you're going to take the scissors and you're going to cut this on each end. You're going to slide the scissors through the loop on one side, as so, and then cut down the middle. And make sure you don't cut the piece of yarn that's holding the two sides together. And you can already see it kind of starts to turn into the little puff ball on that end. And you'll do the same thing on the other side. And cut very carefully down the middle. And there you have it. And because the shape can vary depending on how you cut it or how many times you rolled it around, you can go around and you can trim the sides and make it as round as you'd like. You can make it into any shape you'd like. And you may want to trim the ends from where you had tied the two sides together. After you're done trimming any loose pieces, you now have to retrieve the piece of yarn that you set aside earlier. And once again, this is the part that's going to go inside the book. You take this little puff ball and you find the piece of string that you used to tie each side together. Once you find that string, you take the end of this, you put it through, and you'll tie it. Your end product will look like this. And once again, to show you how to use it, if you have the page in your book, you just stick it in there, and this hangs out at the top, and you can always find your spot. And even if you don't want a bookmark, this could also be used to tie to the back of a little book bag for a little decoration. You can make just the puff ball and use it for all kinds of crafts. It doesn't matter what you do with it. So, with only 2 items and 5 easy steps, you have something that absolutely anybody can do. It makes a good party favor, a good project to keep children busy, or if you're in the rush and you have these 2 things lying around, you can make a good last-minute gift. Crafts are always fun, especially when there's something useful, like a bookmark. These bookmarks can bring a little something special to those cozy nights that you have curled up with a good book. So, next time you need a little craft to do, or you have an afternoon, feel free to make some of these because I'm sure they can put a smile on some people's faces.